Hello, everyone. We are coming to you live from Whittier College. My name is PMD.
And I'm Edgar Soriano.
And today we will be taking you through the journey of ranking all of Cartman's worst crimes, S through D.
Yes, 100%. And we found this list online, and we're going to go off of that and rank them.
So, for those of you who are unfamiliar, you've probably seen him around at least some place. He's pervasive in media. Or you've heard of him, heard his voice for sure. You've probably heard a 13-year-old boy do his voice. We are so excited to introduce you to this little freak.
Yeah, all right.
So, Cartman is the main antagonist of South Park. Even though they have Satan and Saddam Hussein in the show, he's the main villain.
He's the main.
This little dude, he's 8 to 10 years old throughout the series, and he kind of stays that way for the last 20 years. So, let's go ahead and jump right in.
Yeah.
So, this list has upwards of, I'd say, 40 crimes on it.
Yep.
We're going to go through a little, summary of what happened. It's very rare that he's ever charged with these. I think he was only ever charged for two
No,
of
he gets
these.
away with,
He gets
all
away
of them,
with most of these, but if he were ever to have a charge lined up with these, it'd be over.
Yeah, so an idea for this is S is just, we would never do that. And D...
Nobody should be doing that. S is nobody should be doing that.
Yeah, and D is like, okay, reasonable crash out, you know.
Reasonable crash out.
Understood, yeah.
Heard. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. So let's start with murder and attempted murder.
Yeah.
So he's done a lot of these. I'm going to be honest. He was probably responsible for at least half of Kenny's deaths, which I guess doesn't count.
Because Kenny gets killed by virtually everyone.
Yeah, there's really not one person who hasn't tainted Kenny's lifespan. Honestly, some of these are like him walking towards something or luring somebody in to like a hunting ground, or like getting other people killed by manipulating someone else to kill them for him. However, I think he has the enforced suicide, because there's like trees of these crimes, so like attempted murder, and then you go down the list. So I think his enforced suicide crime, where he makes his therapist, his wife, kill herself, not great.
No, and
honestly,
his
I wouldn't do that.
main motive is just to get what he wants. He seeks revenge. He's evil. He's an evil child.
Yeah, something's wrong with him.
Okay, that's definitely S tier.
That's
forced suicide.
Forced suicide, not great. Pretty bad.
Yeah, forced suicide of therapist's wife.
Attempted genocide.
Okay.
Not great. Let's put that one at the very beginning of S.
Okay, yeah.
He was a huge fan of The Passion of the Christ, which was a Mel Gibson movie, and Mel Gibson's Loki a Psycho.
Wait, attempted genocide was... Wait, what did he do?
So, in an attempt to get people to exterminate the Jews using Mel Gibson's movie The Passion of the Christ as justification, and in Ginger Kids, he tried doing the same thing to the Gingers. When he became one of the later, he created the Ginger separatist movement, and instead planned to kill all non-Gingers, not wanting to live out his whole life as any kind of minority. In Mysterious Rises and Coon vs. Coon Friends, he and Cthulhu attempted to wipe out Jews by attacking synagogues. He had Cthulhu attack hippie conventions just because of Cartman's hate for them.
Yeah, so Cthulhu, working alongside Cthulhu is
not great.
Yeah.
Let's move on to vandalism, property destruction, and damage.
Yes.
Okay, broke a man's fence, destroyed most of the stuff in Butter's room, TP'd a house. I'd say D. That's I put it at C. I personally wouldn't go through and bust up somebody's room like that.
Or like a fence.
Or a fence. But I mean
So vandalism.
IDK, that's DUI levels of pretty bad, but don't do it again.
Yeah.
Theft, shoplifting, fraud, and plagiarism.
Ooh. That's B.
Okay, well he low-key did steal his mother's identity and her credit card, so not great. Don't do that to your mom.
That's worse than C. I'm gonna put it at B. I don't know what your stance on that is.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna put that one at B because you did that to your mom.
Okay, so identity theft, and what else do we have?
Identity theft and fraud.
And fraud. Okay, don't do that. Don't try this out.
Fraud is, I would put identity theft above fraud. But
they're both pretty bad.
They're both
though.
pretty bad. If you're committing fraud against a large corporation, that's on them. They should have figured that out. But if it's like a grandma, come on, buddy.
Come on.
Not good.
That leaves it at B tier, because
Let's leave them at B.
yeah.
So we have a little bit of arson. These were accidental and unintentional. So we have accidental and unintentional arson.
Okay. Can you
So
give us the background?
they tricked, the boys, which is all four, Stan, Cartman, Kenny, Kyle, tricked a younger Trent Boyette into starting a fire which they believed could put out their urine but were unable to. Cartman and other boys were smoking and threw their cigarettes away to avoid being caught by Mr. Racky, and they let it in the dumpster. I remember this. And then he also did it in 1%, but committed arson in his own room. So he's just really bad at discarding fire.
I don't want to say that that's something, it's not controlled.
It was an accident.
Yeah, so I want to put that at C because it's still fucked. Not as bad as identity theft and fraud, though.
Not great. Piracy, D.
Yeah, so arson goes at C.
Arson goes at C. Piracy, D.
Okay, yeah.
Who gives a damn?
No, yeah, I don't want to. I've been done that. I'm so sorry.
I've been doing that.
No,
I'm so
how
sorry.
do you think
y'all.
I watched all of South Park?
No, this is what I'm saying. I'm not getting on HBO Max.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's stick to. We're still in the attempted murder right now, and regular murder. This is probably one of the harsher ones, probably the worst ones in my opinion.
Yep.
Enforced and committed cannibalism. In Scott Tenorman Must Die, Cartman tricked a farmer into killing Scott Tenorman's parents,
That's right.
took the corpses and ground them up into chili so he could serve it at the Chili Con Carne festival. Cartman did so and therefore tricked Scott into cannibalism.
I think the real crime, though, is he got Radiohead and made them laugh at Scott Tenorman. That's Scott Tenorman.
Yeah, he had like a lot of like, wasn't like Radiohead like the coolest band that could laugh at Scott Tenorman? Right. And then second to that, made him eat his own parents.
That was, yeah. Above all that, Radiohead.
As a Radiohead, not super into it. I low-key would put the cannibalism over that.
Okay.
Gonna be real.
Reasonable, yeah.
Gonna be real.
So we're labeling cannibalism.
Yeah, enforced cannibalism is probably S.
High S.
Inhuman. Don't be doing all that.
Yeah. How about the Radiohead one?
D. If I could get somebody's idol to laugh at them, like if I got Markiplier to laugh at my friend Izzy, I mean that's just bad as murder, bro. She would die. She would low-key die. Kidnapping and false imprisonment.
Was this Butters?
This is when he locked Butters in the little basement. That made him think it was a bomb shelter.
And mind you, he did this because he wanted
to go to Casa Bonita, bruh.
Yeah.
He wanted to go to the freaking Cheesecake Factory style dining establishment.
What's so funny about the episode is he doesn't even enjoy it. Like, he goes in and he experiences everything for like 5 seconds. And then at the end of the day, he's like, it was worth it. Like,
I was so into it. Like, right.
So, okay, bomb shelter, is that worse as identity theft?
I mean, it's a lot of psychological harm. Didn't his mom try to kill himself? Butters' mom?
No, yeah, okay, that's an A.
Yeah, she low-key did try to kill herself for that one. So let's...
We got that at A.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Let's do that at A.
Would that go under kidnap?
Yeah, that's kidnapping. Unlicensed surgery. So when Jared has AIDS, he, Stan, and Kyle performed unlicensed liposuction on Butters with a hose to make him thinner in hopes of getting money from a weight loss scam. They even framed him by simply running away and hiding, causing another grounding for Butters from his parents. Yet again, they always got that poor kid in his freaking room.
Unfortunately.
Unlicensed surgery. Let me hit this alleyway and give somebody a BBL, and then the BBLs think later. No, ma'am.
I just feel like the opportunity cost did not outweigh the actual act itself.
Right.
Are we gonna put that identity theft and fraud B?
Okay, unlicensed surgery. He didn't die.
Okay, he's a child.
They all children.
You're right. No, that actually. Okay.
We're all children of God.
Yeah. Okay,
So-
we're putting that at B. A forced liposuction? Would that be?
Yeah, forced liposuction actually, bro. If they just had known about Ozempic, bro.
Yeah, come on.
They didn't have that yet. But if they didn't know.
This was the 90s.
They didn't know about that yet. Assorted terrorism. So, couple things to unpack here.
Yeah, refresh my memory.
Calling it assorted terrorism. So he was trying to get Family Guy pulled entirely through threats from Islamic bombers.
That's right.
And threatening the Fox president with a handgun. Let's see. He formed an anti-China organization called the American Liberation Front.
Yep.
He wounded 2 police officers and a civilian with poorly aimed gunshots. So that was pretty bad when he was... I think he took over a PF Chang's and did that.
That's right.
Yes.
And that was a true crime. I'm going to put that at A.
Right.
Assorted terrorism.
Okay, assorted terrorism, not great. Let's see. Let's wrap this up with a really juicy one.
Okay, yeah, A.
He's just doing a lot.
Yeah, we kind of covered
This isn't even
all
of
the
it.
crimes, yeah.
Violation and obstruction of the Pure Food and Drug Act. So
We're going to keep going.
we're just gonna keep going. We'll cut it down. We'll cut it down.
All right, this was
Cartman
pretty-
did put hamburgers in his butt, and he sold them to people, and he farted on them, and then everybody got E. coli. So
Hence the Asperger's.
hence the
mind you.
Asperger's. Play on words. Not
Yeah.
great. Not great.
Yeah, and it's implied that some people may have died from this act.
Yeah, because of the E. coli.
Yes. Did Kyle die or did
Kyle
he?
did not die. He just was really into the hamburgers, which
Yeah.
frankly,
Wait.
that makes me upset in my tummy.
You know what? If anything, it's Kyle's fault because of how popular he made the product itself.
Kyle wasn't like, "Yo, you gotta try Cartman's burgers." Cartman
he
was like,
just
"Let me
enjoyed
just
it.
hit more."
Okay, yeah, 100%.
Bro, why you so quick to victim blame? That's crazy.
You're right.
Damn. Okay, I'm gonna
But
say.
yeah, so that was
I mean, that specifically at S. What the
S.
hell?
okay. Yeah, S is crazy.
But putting laxatives in people's foods and making them poop their pants.
No, yeah, that's the definitely.
That's the same thing as doing the brown note, and they did that one before.
Oh my god, the brown nose.
I'm about to hit the brown note.
Yeah, that was crazy. Okay, so what are we gonna label that? Violating the Food and Drug Act.
Yeah, the FDA violations.
That's crazy. Okay, we're putting that at S. All right.
Quite a heinous little fucker right there.
Yeah,
So,
100%. Yeah.
if you see a Cartman on the street, punt him as far away from you as you can. Just for your own safety.
100%.
Either way, it's been a pleasure. Here's our final tier list. Have a beautiful, beautiful evening wherever you are. Again, my name is PMD.
And I'm Edgar Soriano.
Have a beautiful, wonderful weekend.